Sangbo baby, and welcome to All Things. My name is Rebrile Masole. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you're regular shmegida, hey. So today's episode is something that's very chilled, where we're just gonna be laughing at ourselves, and it's called Spills and Sips. So basically, I posted on my IG story asking people about their Tinder /setup/online dating experiences. And oh my days, the stories that came in were the most. Like, I'm sicker than a dog. Some of the things that I heard, I actually still can't believe. I went further and engaged with the people that sent me messages being like, okay, but what's the Tito? So I will be sharing the stories, and obviously mine, because it's my channel too. But everything will be kept anonymous to the people who sent in their messages. And yeah, grab a drink. Mine is the brutal fruit, the ruby apple sparkle one. That's the one I'm sipping on for today. And I'm going to read some of these anecdotes, and let's just laugh at ourselves because life is tricky and intense. Say, but honestly, my question is, when will we, how, it, actually, you know what, let me just get into the story. Let me just get into it, actually. Okay, so because I posted on my IG story, the IG story typing thing has a character limit. So some anecdotes are going to be straight to the point, but they can speak to a bit of like universal truths that we've all experienced, yeah. Okay, so the first one from this guy who says he almost got arrested for drunk driving on a first date with this hand from Tinder, as in, stop it, Uber or e-haul or whatever it's called, as in drunk driving. Really, what was your date supposed to do? Bail you out? Yeah, I'm sick. I can't even. Then the next one says this one girl tried to spend the whole day with me for the first date. So yeah, I was like, okay, but like, what's the whole day? But apparently, right, they met up midday, and the girlie was talking about how she wanted to go to a specific establishment, right? I'm not going to put the establishment's name. And apparently he was like, yeah, sure, fine, we can go. And then he called his boys, and they were like, yeah, let's go rock. And yeah, we're gonna go rock. So this is the first date, mind you. And I don't know which specific establishment they were at, but think basically polar sides of Johannesburg, north side, south side, yeah. And let's say they went to go groove north side. First date with the boys. And in my head, when I was hearing the story, I was like, dude, as in, why are you rocking with the boys? Date number one, as in, she's gonna get the impression as though like, oh yeah, within, maybe I'm just whining, but I was just like, you shouldn't really encourage that. Cool, she wanted to rock, as in, just be like, yeah, next time, or go rock with your friends. Like, I'm not trying to be shady, but as in, first date, and you guys don't even know firstly what you're doing, and then that idea or the suggestion is to go at a club. That's a very public place, and that specific establishment, it tends to have people that frequent that place. So you're kind of low-key trying to send a message about, I'm with this person, or I'm with this squad. Now girlie was rocking with the boys. She definitely thought she was vinegar, I'm telling you right now. And the fact that she didn't want to leave, right, and then asked you to then take her south side, as in, I told this person that they played themselves, but yeah, she wanted to spend the whole day. But also, like, first date should be 3-4 hours max. Okay, let me not lie, because my first dates have actually gone awry. But you should be okay with the fact that ultimately it will be wrapped and capped. And then also, you low-key have to have an agreement in terms of like transport arrangements, if they're picking you up, if they're dropping you off, if you're Ubering to meet them, but then they're taking you home. Like, do you understand? Like, you have to have an agreement in terms of like what's plotted between the two of y'all. Let me sip my drink. Okay. The next one says, I met a man on Tinder, né? Nice car, house, everything, so right. Eventually, I ghosted him because I think he ran a trap house. A trap house. I couldn't. So I went and I was like, okay, babe, I need detail. What do you mean you thought the man then was running a trap house? Imagine as your first date, like, that's your understanding of the person. And like, no hate to trap houses. I mean, not hate, but like shade a bit, like, as in, at our big ages, like, I found her. Okay, so I was like, girl, not a trap house. And she's like, girl, we got there and we picked a girl up on the way. And she was happy because she thought, okay, cool, double date vibes, so it's not going to be as intimidating, and she felt safer. And then she's like, how? She does the math. Eventually, there's about 7-8 girls at the party. Okay, cool, fine. So she crashed there, and she's like, when I woke up and I was getting ready to leave for like a friend's party later on that day, she's like, all the girls that were with her were gone. So she's busy getting ready, sorting out her life, and the dude was even like, one of the guys rather was at how you're still there. Um, and I think that's when she realized, like, as in, this is a trap house. If they thinking people are coming in and out like a revolving door, it wasn't her brand. And she was like, listen, she never looked back after, like, exiting the situation, but she ran into the guy in her area a week ago. And he's a sweet guy, she says, but not that lifestyle. She just wants love. Girls need love too. Okay, and then the next one is, I really like this guy and we started vibing. Then I realized he had a live-in girlfriend of 2 years. I hope y'all heard the thunder because God is wilding too. As in, how are you on Tinder, first of all, and you're not putting a disclaimer, bad, this is your situation, and that you're in a relationship and you give A, B, C, D, F, G. Cool, fine, you didn't put that there. But you have someone who you're doing fat and sit with for 2 whole years and you're gallivanting on the streets of Tinder. Nah, guys. And for me, it's that the fact that she was like, they started vibing. So clearly there was a connection between these two people. And then Miguel realized that there was a living girlfriend. Like, how do you omit that? Someone that you come home to every single, okay, maybe not say every single day because you're home, but there's someone who is under your roof, the one that you know that you're living at, Batala, rent, mortgage, whatever the situation is, and you're still going to be running the streets. Ah, live in. So, busy mo di pizza in. Busy ka di mob. Yes. Yo, next story. There's just so many. I got. So this person says, this guy asked me if I was alone, home alone, I'm assuming, and if I could come to Rosebank without any further details on Tinder. So we swipe right, we match, cool. And then the first question you ask me is if I live alone and I must land at Rosebank, and that's it. Must I be kidnapped? Must I die? No, man. And then this guy I was supposed to meet up with at 2 p.m. told me at 5 to 4 p.m. that he was running late. Yeah, at 2. We're supposed to meet at 2. Then you tell me at 5 to 4. Oh, by the way, I'm running late. Not that I'm on my way, no phone call. Like, I'm trying to understand for 1 hour and 55 minutes what was happening. Say we were going to meet at a place and I'm sat there. In your heart, mind, and soul, you're thinking that I sat that whole time, awaited your text that was going to say I'm running late. Not I'm walking in. None of that. Listen, I need us to talk about something, being broke while dating. Should you date while you are broke? Does money have anything to do with dating? Is it your portion? Is it your cup of tea? Like, what are our thoughts on dating and your financial situation? I'm usually not a cider fan, but it's entering. Someone asked me on a date, right? And we went to Tasha's. Okay, Tasha's. It's got food. It's food. It's food. It's food. It's food. It's aesthetic. It's cute. It's chic. Whatever. Okay, first date. And he only brought 50 rand, two 20 rand notes, and a 10 rand note. My question is, right? It's a date that you have asked the person to go on. Actually, this is an etiquette question I need to clarify. If someone asks you on the date, is it up to them to foot the entire bill? Or do you discuss the whole thing of going Dutch for my 50-50 conversation? Let me put that out there to you. But then also, secondly, do you Google the menu of the place or do you Google the details of the place that you want to go to so you can kind of have a ballpark of the kind of finances that you need to have prepared? I want to know your answers to that. Then, knowing the kind of establishment that Tasha's is, right? Where was it thought that 50 rand would be sufficient for the person that person that's holding 50 rand by you and yourself? As in, can you give you 50 rand? Because like a cup of something, like a warm cup of coffee or tea or something, like mama 20, 35 rand. And that's for one person. And you asked me on the date. Like I'm the believer that if I'm the one asking you on the date, then I'm to foot the bill, or at the very least, if I have expectation of you to cover something with me, we must discuss that before we're at the place so that you know if it's your portion or not. And also, you must have the expectations that you have must be the things you also must be prepared to do. Like if you are you must be able to do it yourself. That's what I'm in the belief of. And not you must be able to do it for them, but like for yourself. What you're asking for, can you do it for yourself? Or are you set up rather? Child, but what you gonna do with 50 rand at Tasha's? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. What are you gonna do with 50 rand at Tasha's? For 2 people. Sure, no, guys. With 50 rand. Your 50 rand is 5 cents in this economy. Okay, so the next person is that. Sorry. The next person said. The next person sent me a thing, and they were saying like they went on a Tinder date. And he said his pet peeve were skinny girls. And the person is a size 28. Isn't that like a size 4? A size 6 is 30. A size 4 is 28 more than anybody. So you mean to tell me I'm sitting across you, yeah? And you're going to tell me, yeah, a pet peeve of mine is skinny girls. That is so defeating. Like, what do you even say? What do you even do? Like, and this conversation of pet peeves, like, pet peeves are like little things that irritate you, you know, that things that you know that you probably can resolve or cap, or just know that if you identify it, that you stay far away from it because you know it's a pet peeve of yours. You're more likely to avoid it, you know? Okay, we've got a couple more to go. I'm really nervous because I want to tell you guys my story. Should I tell you my story now? We go into the last few stories that other people sent in. I think let's do that. Okay. So my story, there's some things I just want to unpack and discuss. Like, can I treat this like a therapy session? Because I'm still shaken and stirred from my experience with this specific person, you know. Okay, so mine was a Tinder date situation. I didn't know this person prior, but in chatting to one another, we realized, hey dog, we've got mutuals that overlapped. Cool. So this person, we met up and we were discussing where we should go for our first date. And the person hadn't ever been to First Thursdays back then when we used to happen. So I was like, oh no, there's actually 2 that happen in Johannesburg. So it just depends on your vibe. Like, as in, do you want to go to like a more chilled vibes one, or do you want to go to one that can lead into, you know, rocking? Because I'm down for either. So Amanda was like, no, let's go for chill, and then depending on how the night goes, we'll go to the one where it's rocking. Fine, we agree. Cool. So we agreed to meet there. Cool. So it's like, how are you doing? And then we ordered drinks. First, because I was like, let me order a glass of this because I want to taste it. And then he ordered a different glass because I was like, okay, let's just taste each other's glasses and then we'll agree on the bottle that we get. Cool. Ultimately, we ended up deciding on a bottle, so he gets the bottle. So for disclaimer's purposes, I went to Rhodes University, right? And there's an attachment of like the way one handles liquor when you're within that vicinity. And I am someone that subscribed to that because I could, you know, hold my own, so to speak. Now I'm a cheap drunk, but sikolapo. So anyway, cool. We get a bottle of wine. We're sipping. The chats are flowing. The chairs are getting closer and closer and closer because we're sitting on opposite sides of the table. Anyway, so we decide, listen, this chilled vibe was nice, and I'm suggesting, do you want to walk around a bit? But then we're like, oh, for time's sake, just so we can see the other one, the rocking First Thursday, let's go. So mine was like, okay, cool, let's call an Uber, let's go. So now the bill's settled, we stand up, right? So I stand up, I'm getting my bag, I'm adjusting myself, and we finished the whole bottle. I think we got another one, but I don't think we finished that other bottle. Or did we? I think we might have finished both bottles, right? But I didn't realize at the point during the date, I didn't realize that I was the one, like, you know, knocking them back. And I think he was also knocking them back, but I didn't clock that. I think I might have had more than he was, or he was at the very least trying to match me. Because when I stood up, I was fine, you know, adjusting myself, and oh my gosh, and let me stand up and get going. Does he not knock over the table? So mind you, picture this, the vibe is like, what's it, street side setup, wrought iron mini tables, cafe-esque chic, wabo. Live bands are playing kadi sighting more, wabo. So you stand up, the table, there were ice buckets, there were glasses, so everything just goes timber. Child, so we ordered the Uber, right? And it said it had arrived. Because I'm holding his phone because he's also like trying to gather his stability because he's just knocked over the table and he's trying to register that I just do that. So I see the Uber's here. Child, do I not take all my handbag and stuff and whatever he was carrying, put in one hand, grab him by the hand? I'm like, let's run. Let's go. We fled. We fled that side. Oh, there's more. So we fled that side, get into the Uber, and we're like, okay, let's go to the rocking one. Get it? We haven't even so much as left, like, we haven't even connected onto a busy intersection that's going to lead us to the other one happening, the rocking one. Kabua, kabua. I turn around, Mandem's asleep. So, hey, wake up. He is passed out. Mind you, through conversation, I had picked up the area that he lives in, but I could be address and we're in this Uber that's going, one way. I live that way and he lives that way. So I'm just thinking, child, what gonna happen? Because the agreement was that he was gonna take me home. Yeah, he was gonna Uber me home and then Uber on his way back. Child, so he drunker than a fool. I call a friend and I'm like, child, you will not believe. Remember that guy I told you I was on a date with? This is the situation. So she's like, child, at least get to my place. Let's assess the situation. I'm so sorry. It's the thunder that's like rolling in. But she calls me and I call her and she's like, okay, dude, at least come to my place. Cancel going anywhere else. Let's assess the situation. Maybe we can, wakker word him and at least, he can push composmentos for us to arrive at least like my place and his place. But we were trying to figure out like, what are we going to do now? So cool. I tell Uber driver a detour. We get to my friend's place. She looks at him. She's like, child, you need to get him home. I'm like, I live here. He lives there. We are here. It is late. I'm on the next. Don't think that like because I'm pushing composmentos that I'm not on the next. But madam is passed out, so it got real quick. Like it got sober real quick. Right, quick, cool, sharp. So I take this guy's phone and I'm like, yo, what am I gonna do now? So I'm trying to recall in conversation country, where does he live? So I open his Uber app and I'm trying to look at frequented address, hoping that he had saved, a home address location. Nah, he hadn't. At that time, he hadn't. And so I picked one that was frequented and I crossed my fingers, hoped to die that it was the right one. Who can I do WhatsApp messages? Yeah, it's the boy is checking if he's going to score tonight. I'm sicker than a dog. This man is passed out. I'm cross country traveling the whole of South Africa and I'm just trying to figure out like what the fuck. As in what the fuck? Like I was fuming because now I'm reading this message. I'm on the next. His friends are asking, yeah, do you think you're gonna hit it? I'm like, does he even know where he is? Does he know what is like? I'm so angry. Hold on. You can't tell the difference between his face and his ass at this point. Cool. So I ignore those messages. I slide up, request the ride, and I'm like, okay, cool. We need to get him to his place. That was like a whole 45-minute drive, guys. Like, I was downtown whipping on the way to, I don't know, God knows where. Anyway, I arrived. We arrived at the place. So we access like the security booth. And it seems like Mandem, it's his thing to always be on the next and to always come amiss. Because when I pulled out the window, I was like, listen, I'm so sorry to bother you. Do you by any chance recognize this guy? Does he live here? Security guys are like, yeah, I know, we know him. And this is him all the time. Oh, is it your now? So I'm like, so these are the things that he's used to doing. I'm in shock. I'm stressed. Mind you, I'm on the opposite side of the town. I have no idea how I'm going to figure out this thing of how I'm going to get home because he had agreed, we were going to Uber home together, but I had to make sure that he got home first and to make sure that he was alive and safe. So security are like, no, don't worry, we'll take him in. And I'm crossing my fingers. I'm praying to God that the situation, figures itself out. He gets, so they pick him up and they start doing whatever they need to do. But before he gets out of the car, I'm like, listen, wait, I need to hail my own ride home. I don't know the child's poor balance. Like we're cross country traveling, I'm canceling and rerouting and everything. So I'm thinking poor kids' finances, but I'm kicking myself thinking, why should I care about that guy's finances? Because what a tricky situation to put me in. Anyway, and guys, don't forget, I said I was on the next. So let me tell you the funnerism that I did on my part. And anyway, so his friend is texting him, and I think he's getting a little bit like, well, he's wondering why isn't Mandem texting, like he's asking himself like what's going on. So I opened the WhatsApp, right, and I opened the chat between me and him, me and the guy I'm on a date with, and I type out an apology text. Guys, please ask me why on God's green earth I thought that would make sense. Because in my head, right, I had typed out the I'm so sorry for losing my shit kind of thing. So that when he wakes up, because I'm assuming the way Madam is passed out, he won't even remember anything that's happened. Probably the last point of recollection he'll have is that, he paid for the bill and then it just went back, right? So I wrote out this I'm so sorry message thing, hoping that when he opens his WhatsApp and then thinks to text me, he'll see that message typed out and think that it was him that was going to send the apology. Look at me doing the heavy lifting. I'm a bari. Yo, yes. Anyway, but the fool in me that's not seeing 100% and straight, because I'm seeing fuzzy, but I'm functioning, till I hit send. I sent the damn ass thing to myself, and I am sicker than a dog. So I'm just like, doesn't matter. I'm still stressed out. Let me get home now. So cool. The driver, he picks up the ride request. Cool. And then he takes me home. So I get home eventually. And this isn't the time that I was planning on getting home. So remember, I don't know how I said, like, as in a first date, you must accept ultimately it will be wrapped in capped. So there'll be a time where it's ended. And for me, with the date I was on, it was long past. I think I should have just gone home the minute tables were just falling like this. But I really just thought it was a moment of clumsiness. If we exit the situation, maybe he'll also, pull himself together from the young embarrassment and not be a mess. But yeah, let's quit the draws, guys. It's bad for you. I'm telling you now. Let's go back to people's stories. I don't even want to know how y'all gonna react to my story, but yeah, I spoke my truth. Okay, I don't just use you for content, also speak my truth. I'm the content. Y'all, the thunder is rolling and rolling. I'm sick. It's boring, man. Anyway, so the next story comes from a homegirl. And she was like, as in this person, she sent me voice notes, so I wrote notes of what she said. So basically, this person and her had matched on Tinder, and they had agreed ultimately that, listen, we're vibing. So then he sent her a message saying, can we please go out for a coffee date? So she's under the same premise that, listen, you've asked me out on this date, so that means you're going to foot the bill, right? At the very least, you're going to take care of something. Sorry, I need to backtrack. So she says, like, the conversation was neither here or there, but then when it was time to order, like, what they were going to drink and everything, it was very strange for her how specific Mandem was. He was like, he opened the menu, you can kind of see him scanning for that thing, and he was like, yeah, can I get this, full stop. Like, he didn't even try to have, like, engagement in terms of, like, oh, what are you in the mood to drink? Like, he made it very clear that my interests are focused here. So she's like, I mean, that's strange, but okay, as in, do what you gotta do. She got her drink. She got like a bottomless coffee that is pretty affordable. They were at a Mug and Bean. Oh, okay, it's time to pay. And the waiter comes to them, and the waiter asks, is it going to be cash or card? And the guy says, I'm going to be cash. So Gertie starts, having like a scratch head moment. Like, what do you mean I'm... But she doesn't think much of it. Maybe she was just saying, yes, and I'm going to be the one dealing with the bill. And so this is how I'm going to deal with it. Child, does he not take out to the coin, not even a 10% tip in mind? He takes out the specific amount of that specific thing that he ordered, and then he kind of looked at the homegirl blank, and then he flipped this, like, the narrative and started saying, oh no, I can't believe it, like, I've been wanting to go on a date with this girl, and now I can't even afford to take her out. I'm so embarrassed. This is my life story. So she sat there like, what in the Sam heck hell is happening? Because you asked me out on this date. But anyway, how mama raised her right and said, listen, even if you're broker than a dog, I don't know, I keep using dogs as like the reference for my metaphors. But anyway, if you're broke, always at least try 10 rand more browing and make sure at least you've got that, because you never know what will come up. So she's like, okay, fine. She took out a card, she paid for a drink, and she was like, okay, for me personally, this isn't my brand. This particular person, the way the situation was dealt with, it's not for me. So love and light, liefde and liefde, I'ma block you and keep it moving. And that's exactly what she did, because then she started later on seeing someone else, and then they went on a couple of dates and that was that. But because of the place that she was in, bitch, you could fart today and 3 seconds later the whole town would know. And now, so Bandem, the broke guy, at the Magan Bean, the guy who asked out on the date, he's catching feels now because he's on some, yeah, seems like you never really were into me to begin with. And then he has the audacity, the stupidity for girl, turn around and call her a hoe. The town bicycle. I'm sick. I am unwell. This threatens my stability. How dare you say that because I have moved on from you that I'm a hoe? Tinder, guys. Tinder. That's the end of that story. So I just got so lost in the soonery. I got lost in it. The next story, and I think, ooh, this is the last story I'm going to share with you guys because wow, I've been whining. My drink is done. Triggered. So the girlie starts off the story by saying, listen, she's been on a couple of strange Tinder dates, but this one takes the cup. So this man name was very nice, yeah. On the first date, he took me for a flight around Port Elizabeth, showing me the coastline and all because he's a pilot. And I was like, oh my days, am I on The Bachelor? So she's laughing at herself. And then she continues to say, a part of me was like, this is too good to be true. And afterwards, he took her to her favorite restaurant where he had booked a table and we had a candlelit dinner, pasta and wine. Oof, the combination. But she's thinking to herself, hey dog, at this point, I'm like, I really just want to dick. This is too much. But anyway, who is she to refuse? After dinner, we finally were making plans to go to his place. So, you know, being a rodent, drinking is my second name. And I assumed it was his as well. But they were stopped by the cops for drunk driving. And after taking the breathalyzer, he was drunk. Child, he got arrested and slept in jail while she slept in the back of his car, the ghetto. Next day, she had a flight to Joburg. Yeah, listen to this. I left with my bag and left him in jail. I blocked him after. Long story, but never using that app again. I'd say it was a Nollywood movie. I swear, girl, even I was like, nah, this isn't on. My mother didn't labor for this. Yeah, Mandem wanted me to pay bail, which was 1.5K on a student budget. And I just met you? No, babe. And then she was like, yeah, that's the story. So she wrapped and kept it. I mean, basically, this is the moral of the story. Firstly, don't drink and drive. If that's the lifestyle you're trying to lead, be prepared for the consequences because people honestly don't know you like that. And that's the crazy part about Tinder dates, especially first Tinder dates, because the conversations have been flowing, like the energy is nice, the banter's cute, it's whatever. And then you over familiarize yourself not only with like your situation, but you also start to play up certain things about like your life that necessarily like isn't true. Because now you act like you can handle your liquor, you can't. Now you're getting arrested, you don't have money for bail. You're asking people on dates, you can't even afford the date. Do you understand? You're making promises that you can't even fulfill. Now people have to carry your flag. You're telling people about pet peeves. I'm more pet peeve your house. So what is the truth? Like, the thing about like Tinder and dating app experiences is that like you can get really lost in the source because the conversation really flows, response time is cute, but because you're new, it's like getting something new. We have that 3-second goldfish memory kind of energy when it comes to meeting someone new who almost like takes your initial like, you know, your boxes. But then when you think about it and when you actually start to apply the intention that you have for even being in this space, you get lost in it very, very, very quickly. And these situations can turn into absolute soonery. Like, you cannot be putting someone in a position where they have to think about your bail. Imagine you're on a date with a person and they actually get arrested. Like, first date, really we need to deal with that kind of stuff? That is embarrassing. Like, what happened to the days where probably the thing that you didn't like about the guy was his laugh or the fact that he was wearing like overly ripped jeans or something? Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your stories with me. These were honestly like the funniest. I saw there were a lot more that came in, but as in for the sake of time, maybe I'll do a second edition. I want to keep rotating the different like subjects and categories that we'll speak about in the Spills and Sips edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. Right, in this week's insert of Topical Topicals, we've got two major brands that are shaking up the South African skincare community. First up, we've got Jameson Whiskey that are launching a trio skincare range called Beether. This range is dedicated to be genderless and we'll look forward to what they have to offer. This brand is in partnership with Ayanda Tabete. It seems as though they've been working on this for a couple of months and they're very excited to share their insights and the range with the rest of the country. Let's hope that it will serve its true purpose. And the next brand shaking us up is Laliva by Amanda Dupont. She has recently launched her skincare range and it is now available for pre-order. This is a whole African produced range that she claims is vegan, cruelty-free, and is dermatologically approved. We look forward to the success of all the ranges that are being launched in South Africa. Let's hope they are true to their endeavors and are relevant to the South African consumer. My name is Rebuila Masole, coming in live for Topical Topicals this week. Good night.